Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, I'm a little bit late tonight, but I got here. Hey Keith, and what do we got here? We got Jeanette and Danette, and we got William, we got Clay, and there's Ryan down there, and B Weaver, honey, Steve, and let me go ahead and drop the link in the chat. Hey Steve, good to see you. And there it is. Good to see you, Steve. It looked like you've been traveling the world wide and all that. We got Travis from Easy Ox. And who else we got here? We got Sarah, I mean. Hey, Bill.
Hey, we were beginning to wonder if the myth part might be true.
The what?
The man, the myth, the legend. We were wondering if the myth part might be true.
But yeah, we got Steve there from Iowa. There's Mike from Easy Ox. Nah, I got kind of hey Russell. We got Shona. I was on that other chat. I was talking to Aussie Mike from Australia. And what is it? The sustainable beekeeping up in Michigan there. Hey there, Southern Maryland beekeeper. And anyway, he was talking about there was this lady who's going to be on Zoom at that conference. It's an online conference.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes, she's a bee breeder, been at it for 4 years trying to breed queens to be more mite resistant and that kind of thing. And so I was trying to get some information. Hey there, it just, hey, Brad, that was interesting. And then, over there, they heat treat their brood frames. They take the brood, 95% cat brood or 100% cat brood frames.
Yeah.
Take them out of their hive and they put them in this machine.
Yeah.
And they put distilled water in there. It heats the brood up with no bees on it to 105 degrees.
Okay.
And kills the mites inside the frames. So the way they do that is they cage 2 frames with the queen on it, so she can't go nowhere. So then they pull the queen out, take the frames out, shake all the bees off, put them in this machine. It takes 2 hours to do this. They kill the stuff. Yeah, you caught me on that there, Brad. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. So I asked him, I said, and they do this twice a year over there. And now last year let's say they killed all the mites this week, within a week and a half, it'd be highly infested, over infested. That's how bad it got over there. They could not, they didn't have all the medications that we have. They trying to get an understanding of all this mite problems. And that's a country there it's different in the United States. It's kind of, they do have it up, the upper part has the snow and the lower part is more like desert or like Florida, tropical.
Yeah.
So they have all this variation of weather. And I asked him, I said, well, then, you put the queen in the rest of the hive and then you put those frames after 2 hours. I said, well, then she's going to lay the whole darn hive up. And he says, yeah. And he said, well, then ever so many, I'll say so many months down the road, they do it again twice a year. So let's say, they probably might have bees year round over there because the way their weather is kind of like down in Alabama where Joey is and Louisiana and all that. So he said, I said, then what do you do? I mean, you put two frames in, you know? He said, oh no, we pick out all the frames that are completely capped. Like I'm going to do a demery and put it in this machine and kill all the mites underneath the thing. And and now this year, it seems like they used to have high beetle galore last year. They were getting slimed out. The varroa mites were completely out of control. And then he says this year, I don't know whether it's the weather has changed, but we have got less mites and less hive beetles and stuff like that. So and then they got, like you say, they're trying to breed hygienic queens, I guess you would call it, or resistant queens, and that kind of stuff. So they're it's the thing with them, they have our experience or our knowledge, but then they have a clean slate to start with. Do we chemically treat these bees, or do we let nature kind of take its course? So, and I know after 4 years or so, hey, Raj, uh, I don't know whether or not, I don't think in 4 years this Mother Nature is going to be able to switch things, overcome that nature type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Not 4 years.
Because somebody like Sammy Ramsey said it would take about 1,000 years, There's Papa GB's. So that was, I was trying to get a few questions answered there and all that. Papa GB's, where are you from? And give me your first name, if you would. I don't have that information. I always just like to know. But so that was kind of interesting on that part of it, and all that kind of stuff. They got anything exciting except being cold down your way?
Just cold right now. It's 13 degrees here.
Yeah, I don't know what it is right now. I know the best we got is 22 degrees.
Yep, I was going to say that was the high here today, was 22.
And all that.
It's supposed to be cold tonight.
It's 8 degrees right now. It was 8 degrees this morning at 7:30. Arcade. Yeah, where are we at?
It's supposed to be 2 degrees here tonight.
Right. George. Yeah. I'm writing down George to Papa B's. Let's see.
Hey, Todd, how are you?
Yep, there's Todd leaving the office right now. 3 hours difference.
Yep.
Thank you there, George, Papa B's. And we got 12 degrees out there at Mike's place.
It's going to get cold at Brad's place. It's supposed to be 19 degrees on Sunday with a high of 35. You need to move a little further south, Brad.
Norman's, let's see, popcorn tonight. I don't know. Maybe I might get some popcorn later. Yeah, I don't know. I went out there to my hives and I tried to use my flare camera, which is not actually a flare. It's a little teeny thing I bought, which does a nice job.
Yeah.
But I got out there after lunch and then I got false readings where the carpet on those hives were red. because it was connecting with the sun rays, and even though it was 22 degrees.
Yeah.
And the hive, the sides of the wooden hive part next to the sun, that was where it was warm, and it was all red. And I'm like, and of course the sun, my glasses are black because of the the transition,
Yeah.
and I couldn't see anything hardly in the lens. So I'm gonna have to go out there at nighttime or when sun's down or whatever, early in the morning, to do anything like that, to get any correct reading. So my biggest concern was last Thursday was 50 degrees. I put fondant on, I put bee bites on, I put super DFM on. If I didn't have fondant, I put if I didn't have um, Sandy Mount, the magic
fondant.
Matt's magic fondant, then I put on some super fuel from Strong Microbials on and all that. It's been a week now, and I'm concerned, are they running out and that kind of stuff.
Well, there's only one way to find out, Charlie.
Well, I went out there to one of my nice hives. It's got that cluster about yay big, it's about a foot across. So I said, all right, let's take the thing. And I just went ahead and knocked that little 1/4-inch plate over top of the vent hole in the inner cover. And the bees were right there looking at me. And they were not sitting there like half stiff either. They were like, boy, it's nice and warm in here. Let's crawl all over the place.
Close that top. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone, and I as soon as when I seen them right there looking at me, I'm like, okay, close you back up. And I'm like, the warmest is going to be, I think, is next Tuesday. It might get up to around 38 degrees, 35 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do I open them up and close them down just to see what's going on, or put food on them? But they don't want to hopefully run out of food.
So next week, my high is going to be Monday and Tuesday. It's supposed to be 35 degrees. Calling for snow on Wednesday.
Yeah. Are you getting snow Sunday? We might get some snow here.
No, they saying all we're going to get is the cold air and a little bit of wind and make it even colder.
So that's my dilemma. Is I want to get into them. I want to check the feed. I want to put feed on and see how they're doing with all the stuff I did put on there.
Yeah.
See how that's going. And we only got, one more day of this month.
Yep. Tomorrow's a heat wave here. It's going to be 20.
So now we're at the beginning of February. And really, I always kind of start putting my pollen patties on about this time. Of course, it's severely cold.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know what to do.
I need to get some more fondant on my bees, but I don't know whether to wait to do it tomorrow or wait till Monday when it's 35 outside.
Hey, Ian.
He's back.
That's my dilemma.
Yeah,
is that too. I don't want to open them up, but I ain't got no more. Well, I do have some fondant and all that stuff, but like when I did open them up that one day, it was 50 degrees. I could work on them.
Yeah.
And not say that I left them open per se, but I didn't have any. I didn't feel bad about getting into them, where it was harsh on them. But it's like, what I did do, like the one time it was right at 40 degrees at 38 degrees. I went up and down to see what I had to deal with. Then I prepped everything. Then I pulled the baggie off, threw it out of the way, put the new baggie on, maybe a bee bite on or whatever it was at the time, and I was done. Are they heaving light? I'm not sure, Ian. I think most of mine, I've kind of looked at them, and they ain't the well-fed area. I have to say that much. I mean, I fed them, but they've been blowing through the food quite a bit
Yeah.
and all that. That's the biggest problem. I'll have to try that maybe on some of them to kind of get an idea. Give the one arm strong test. And then Tom says 36 degrees until the about halfway through February, which I think he's right.
Yeah. I mean, he's about right because it's really not supposed to be up to 40s until after the 15th.
Yeah,
So,
because my extended forecast is like 16th is 41 degrees.
yeah.
And after that, it's 39, 42, 44. Then after that, it gets into the 50s. Well, by that time, it's too darn late to get putting pollen patties on to get the brood rearing going.
Travis, no, I did not get it. I'll check my junk folder in the morning.
So, anyway, that's and all that. But so I got fondant ready to put on them. I got some from um,
Yeah, I got stuff ready to go too. I got to make a decision on doing it. You know
I
what I
know.
mean?
Well, it's kind of like this, it's if they're going to get cool and got food on them, or you keep them warm and then they're going to starve.
Yeah.
So,
I know. Yeah. The only issue is I gotta go down there with the loader bucket and clean out between rows.
well, it's like I went up there today and I cleaned out a path in front of the hives with a
Yeah.
tractor,
Yeah.
and I left it close to the hive, like you said. It's about a foot deep with about 3 inches of crust.
Yep.
And I went walking on that, and then boom, you fall through,
Yep.
And then you feel like you're getting ready to fall is about half the problem.
Yeah, it's almost thick enough to ice skate on too.
Mm-hmm. I can walk on some of it, and finally it'll break through.
Yeah, like the wife, she can walk on top of it. I can't. It'll break through with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is global warming, Russell.
Uncle Junior wants to know, once the bees move up, I'm not sure what that.
Out once the bees move up out of the brood box, do they stay on top because it's warmer even if they don't have food? Yes, they'll stay up top till it gets warm outside, and then the queen will say, "Up, it's time to go back to my brood box," and she'll go back down.
Maybe Matt will be on here. I know I seen the video where he was at there. I was just wondering what kind of temperature he was when he was looking at all them 4 baggies were completely empty.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm half tempted. I think I'm gonna maybe go out there Monday or Tuesday and just do a up and down, or in and out, 30-second deal.
Yep. Just to put some food on them.
Go in there, look, put some, maybe get out there tomorrow with the tractor and get a little closer with the bucket and get it down to where it's to the ground where I don't have to. So that's a problem behind there aren't hives where I work. There aren't snows that deep. I can't get in there with anything there.
Can you get in there with a skid loader?
Maybe, but I have to get my son to do that. And he gets a little bit too fast for me. I don't want to knock
True.
me. So, but I'll do something. I just want to make sure that they got enough food to get through and all that.
Yeah.
If I can get them up close to 50 degrees, then I'll be putting some sugar water on them.
Yep. Let's see here. What's the name of the town where we're going out to that? Is it St. Louis or?
Yeah, basically St. Louis. It's right in St. Louis. I'm going to grab another Coke.
What's February going to bring in St. Louis? It's not going to be bad out there. Not going to be bad in St. Louis, Charlie.
I hope not. Not at that time of year.
Well, the 18th, they're calling for rain/snow. But the 19th, the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd, it's going to warm up on the 22nd to be 64 degrees.
What's happening, Dave?
It's going to be a good trip.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going, Dave?
Same old. Another day in paradise.
There you go.
In Iceland, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had south of me where the main road in front of my house, Bill, is 2-lane. It gets down to close to US 1 and it whips out into 4 lanes with a divided highway, right?
Yeah.
Well, off the right-hand side is a big commuter parking lot. And they got a one of them trailway buses. It's a commuter bus that goes from that parking lot down to Baltimore and back, every day.
Yep.
I was going down there. I guess it was about 7:45 when I went down that way that morning, two mornings ago. Well, he went in, picked up these people, I guess, and he's whipping on out the lower entrance. Well, they didn't have the entrance quite cleaned off. And he got his right-hand side where those back wheel, he's out. He's got 2 lanes, right?
Yeah.
He's out in the first lane with his nose, right?
Yeah.
In the slow lane, as we would call it.
Yeah.
And his rear is in the ice pack. And he can't go forward and he can't go backwards.
He's just sitting there spinning.
He's sitting there deader in the doornail, right in the middle of the highway. The police were there with 2 cop cars, lights on. Everybody get over to the left-hand fast lane so they could get around him to keep on going. I went by there today. I think they did get the front end loader out there and push the darn stuff back. But there's a lot of roadways where the state highways, usually they push it all the way back across these shoulders and everything. This time they've got the ice pack. It's a foot thick all the way up to the white line and then some, maybe into the driven line where they didn't push it back. And it's still sitting there.
The roads are pretty bad. With my job, I pretty much drive all over. And yesterday I went up to Annapolis, and when you're around the Annapolis area and around like where you're going to the Bay Bridge, they have a lot of double lane exits, and they got the snowpacks on like halfway in both lanes, so you're driving down in the middle of both of the lanes.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't push that back. Usually they do that stuff.
I could understand somewhat a little bit of like the one closer to the main road, but like the stuff that's on the right, like near the edge of the road, they could have pushed it all the way back to the guardrails. But now it's too late. It's just giant like cement blocks of ice now.
Yep. Ice balls. Ice creep is what they call it. Yeah.
And that's a lot of the back roads too. They just cut out just enough. And I know the back roads aren't really like state. A lot of times it's local people that are doing it, but they just carve out just enough for one person to get through. And some of those roads, like, they're long enough to where, like, if you come up on somebody else front end to front end, somebody's got to back all the way out.
Oh yeah. Or to the next intersection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of crazy. I haven't seen snow like this in a long time. Actually, I could say I probably haven't seen one like this ever around here. It's like 3 inches of ice on top. And there's like 4 inches of like powdered snow underneath.
Yeah, we used to get those all the time back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, I think what it is, the sleet and ice crush the snow, is what they say, as far as the true how deep the snow is type thing.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to shovel out, because once you get it going and get underneath of it, it breaks up real easy. It's just, you can walk across all of it. And at work, I was just sliding around.
Yeah. I know you're trying to get it. I was out there today right at my or where you walk into the house, and I took a good steel shovel. It was more of a spade, where it was more of a straight blade. Like you say, you get that much solid crusted ice, snow, move out of the way, and underneath it ain't so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I threw some salt out there, and I'm looking at her all day. I'm like, wow, it looks like you're just sitting there with more of a gripping thing than it is a melting thing. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it did slush it up a little bit. And Travis says 4-inch called for in Myrtle Beach this weekend. Yeah, because that storm's going up the coastline.
Yeah, it's coming right up the coast.
And we might get a little bit of flurriness. Our Ocean City on the eastern shore will get more than anything else.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Did y'all look into that? Because, like, if the storm shifts a little bit, that'll push that storm right up on top of us. If it shifts, like, towards Maryland-ish.
Yeah, if it goes west 50
Hey,
miles, I'll get hammered.
Yeah. That's what we were watching out for.
Yeah. So I guess there's nothing much. You haven't been out in the yard any, I guess, have you?
I walked out there today. Well, I slid out there today. I was kind of, just shaking all around trying to walk out there. The ice down here it's thick. I'm like 300 pounds, and it won't break on me. I have to jump on it to get it to break. But
really,
yeah,
you got it worse than I do, then.
Yeah, because the last bit of it, I think like the last 5 or 6 hours, it turned to just rain, and then it went by midnight. It was all frozen. When it, I think it was Monday. Yeah, it froze. We had sleet for like 8 hours, and then it turned to rain and melted overnight, and it's been a nightmare ever since.
Yeah, well, we let it snow here and that all afternoon Sunday. It sleeted, and then I guess you might call it, say, rained, and then I just waited till Monday to get out there with the tractor to push it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I went over to the bees, and it looks like a graveyard over there. They're dead bees all over the place.
Mm.
It's not like they came out of the hive. I mean, people said like horror stories. You're going to walk over to the beehive and think something's wrong in the snow. This is my first encounter with that. There's a lot of bees just laying all over the place.
Well, true. I don't know. I got a couple hives out there on the end out there. The snow's completely across the entrance, which I didn't even disturb it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to fly for the next week.
Now, last week, were your bees flying when it was warm?
Thursday, which was 50 degrees, and I took off from work and put all the fondant and stuff I could put on them.
So my girls, I noticed every time I come home from work, I could just like get out of the car and look at them. Every day last week they were out except for Friday. I will say Thursday it looked like they were swarming Thursday. there was bees everywhere Thursday.
Yeah, well, they were out there, I'll say, doing orientation flights and stuff like that, cleansing flights and that kind of thing. And then I was out there. Um, I don't had one hive out there that the bees were down in the two bottom mediums. The top medium, I took it completely off, and it didn't have any bees in it. And then that second medium, I think 4 frames were completely empty, and I had 4 frames out of the top box that had some food in them. I threw that in there and just closed that hive down to 2 boxes, and put the bee, put a shim on it and bond it and patties and stuff like that to keep them going.
Yes, I heard you saying something about putting like the pollen patties and stuff on them.
Yeah, I put bee bites on them. I did.
Just bee bites.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'll call it a pollen patty, but it's not a pollen patty.
Right. I've seen them. I've seen people's opinions on them and all that.
Well, I'm putting them on there as an experiment to see how the bees, whether they like to eat them or not.
Mm-hmm.
As they're what has it got in it, Bill? The green stuff.
The bee bites.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's spirulina.
spirulina. And all that kind of stuff. But it just, I'll have to see what it is. I put that on there, put the super DFM, some fondant, and some super fuel, which is microbial fondant type stuff on there with Apis biologic in it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I watched a video on that. A guy was doing his overwinning. He was trying out the bee bites, and I wouldn't say he had like a great control group, but he had around 20 hives, and he put bee bites.
Was that the guy out in southern or around Frederick, Maryland?
I have no idea. No, I think he's somewhere in one of the southern states.
Yeah, there was a guy down in I think it was Alabama that made a video with it, and he was gonna make another video when he went back in a week, so he could see how much they ate.
Yeah, the one I've seen.
There was a bee supplier here, I think around Frederick, Maryland, and he had bee bites, and he had bee bites and maybe let's see, some pollen.
This guy was doing bee bites, the super fuel, and hive alive.
Yeah, maybe it was something like that. And Ryan wants to know, Dave, how close you are to Whirlwind Road,
That's south of Leonardtown. I'm north of Leonardtown. It's Clements, like you're going to Buzz Creek Raceway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Clements intersection pretty much. Right north of Leonardtown. I'm like 5 minutes from Leonardtown.
Yeah, I know where Leonardtown is.
Yeah, Whirlwind is a little bit south of Leonardtown.
Yeah, I used to. What was the family name that used to put the Bluegrass Festival on? I forget what his name was. He passed away, and they closed it up.
Yeah, I think somebody in Bill's stream Monday said that they live by the power plant north of, or basically near 301 Bridge. So we got quite a few people around here that I didn't know. I know for a fact there's nobody around me. I see bees, and I was wondering, like, I think they're feral bees because I don't think anybody around me has bees within at least a 5 mile radius of me.
Right. But so I don't know. There was another guy. He was selling the products. I think he was out there around Frederick, and he was checking out bee bites, and he was checking out different pollen patties, I think, also at the time. Maybe some fondant. And I don't know. He was he really, like you said, he only had 5 or 10 hives of these and 5 or 10 hives of these.
Yep.
And he when he did it, I think he thought that these products were going to build his hive up fast. You know, he making splits, I believe is what I remember now. And it's like, I don't think that's what the product helps, but it isn't going to be a magic something to make the hives get all strong right real quick.
It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
Well, none of this stuff is, you know. But you know, so that's what he was getting. He really didn't have any decisive answer as far as what he would recommend per se.
Yeah, the guy I watched, he's a smaller YouTuber. I'm trying to find him and see where it is, but he just did bee bites. He did his control group was basically like 20 hives. I can't find the video, but he did 10 without anything, just natural, and then the other 10 just bee bites, and he came out to the same conclusion, or like the same amount of losses. He didn't really notice anything different between the.
Was this going through winter?
Yeah,
winter?
just over wintering.
I don't think bee bites is, I'll say, a overwintering product.
Right.
I mean, it's just like my philosophy here recently has changed about the fondant thing. I always thought fondant was an emergency food. And then after kind of looking at the situation where I throw a lot of sugar water to them in the fall, September and October, then there's a lot of folks would say they'll put candy boards after Christmas or after the first of the year. And I think that's where fondant kind of comes in. If you don't do candy boards, you can put fondant on. It's a situation like we always say, well, the bees couldn't move over one frame because it was too cold. So they froze to death / ran out of food, and they couldn't keep themselves warm, and they're done. Whereas if you put fondant right on top of the cluster, they don't have to move anywhere. They just go up and eat it because it's right there, literally contacting them. And you get them over that temperature hump. It's not so much the cold that kills them, it's the fact that they can't move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they can break cluster and move over and grab more food on another frame, it's fine from what I can see of it. But if they can't move over there, even though it's one frame over, they're going to starve out. If it's a long period, like right now, it's been what? It's going to be on like 10 days of 20-degree weather.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to move anywhere.
Nope.
They're just going to stay right there. So if you can put food on top of them to keep them going, I mean, I think that's what you have to kind of think about. And that kind of thing. Here comes Norman. Hey, Norm, how's everything out in the island?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a little different out here than it is for you guys.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's actually a picture of tonight and what's going on. So it's like 11, 12 degrees Celsius out here. So it's pretty
Which
nice.
is about 50 degrees, basically. 50 to 53 degrees.
Yep. This is twilight right now. And I'll tell you, earlier today, the bees were all out and about, flying around, finding nothing because there's nothing yet. But, you know, they were everywhere. Hi, Dave.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Yep.
For everybody that doesn't know Norman, he's out on the island.
Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island. He's out there
West Coast Canada.
On the coast of Canada there.
Yeah, we typically, we get kind of Seattle type weather out here. Maybe a
Vancouver-
little rain, a
is
little
it
more
called-
rain.
Is it called Vancouver Island?
It's called Vancouver Island. Yep.
Okay. Ian wanted to know.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess
Yeah.
he's your closest neighbor. Well,
He
actually,
is. No, you guys are probably closer.
I guess James, who would be out there in Alberta, Canada, he's just over top of the mountains.
Yeah, he's only he's only like 2,000 kilometers away. Day and a half drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
things are
Mark.
far apart up here.
Yeah. But so I mean that's my kind of opinion of it now is to make sure that your bees when these cold spells are coming through to have the food right on top of them so they don't here comes Matt now. And when they don't have to move sideways, they can move up and down.
Yeah, all you northern beekeepers up there, I just want you to know that your weather's down here in the south. It's drunk or high. You need
Take
to
it
come
back.
get it and take it home.
Yeah,
Ian's
Ian's asking about the flowers there, and our alders, the buds are like inch and a half long already right now. They're not ready to kick out pollen yet, but they're shriveled and ugly, but they're growing.
Are you seeing buds
Yep. Oh yeah.
What
on
type
the flowers?
what
Are
type
you
of
seeing
flower?
buds on the flowers?
On the alders.
Yeah.
The alder trees, they
Yeah.
got they whatever it is that first octopusy weird looking growth on it. It's getting big. They're going from buds to whatever happens first. But the apple trees they all have little buds on them. It won't be long. It's going to be an early year for us.
So why are you warm then out there?
It's just the ocean.
You're north of us.
Yeah.
Ladder,
It's that,
so why is your weather warmer than what we are?
well, that big hill there called the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, but what's that got? I mean, I understand about the rain going over top of it and all that stuff, but
Well, it all goes up against the ocean temperature goes up against it,
okay.
and then it just kind of hangs out here, right? And so it just draws in from the north. So if you guys were smart, you'd knock down that Rocky Mountains and it'd be warm all the way across.
We'll get on that.
Yeah,
We'll have it
get
done.
right
We'll
on.
start working on that.
Little make
We'll have
work
it done in
project
about
for you.
2,000 years.
Yeah.
Lisa wants to know, is Vancouver Island in the sort of a rainforest area like up in Washington State?
Yeah, we're very, very rainforest here. Yeah.
So does it rain like every day for a month or two in a straight?
Well, what we like to say is, it only rains once a year up here for about 8 months.
I don't think I could handle that. I bet you your suicide rate up there is something terrible.
So you have 2 seasons up there, right? You've got summer and 4-wheel drive season.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Ian wants to know how many highs you got, Norman.
Right now I got the mid 20s. There, I got these guys here. I think there's 26 hives. 3 of them are empty, so I got 23 here, and then I got another yard. I got 6 hives in right now. So I got 20. What is that? 23 plus 6 is 29. 29 hives right now.
And then you were saying the last time we were talking on somebody's show that you did have some commercial guys, but they kind of quit or something. Or
Well,
what?
it just seems that everybody who was, really serious, they're getting a little older, and they're kind of backing out of it. The guy who made the nukes locally, he's not making nukes anymore. And it's like we have a few stores and whatnot, but it's just there's not too many young guys. Like when you go to a bee meeting, there's a lot of older folks there. There's a few younger guys, but it's not.
So basically, it's back. You might say sideliners, but they're aging out. As far as and they're downsizing and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to know how many beekeepers are on the island, total colony count.
Oh, I have no idea. Well, I got 20. What did I say? I got 29.
You got
And
30.
I got a friend who's got about 25. So more than that.
So then what about the older guys at the bee meetings? What do they got? 10, 12?
Yeah, there's a few guys that got up to like 40 or something like that, but they're all
So you might have 1,000 hives on the island.
well,
Maybe
there's a couple
500.
of bigger guys that don't show up at meetings, and you don't get to know them really because they're they're kind of a different class of beekeeper.
Yeah.
Read Uncle Junior's comment.
Ian's gonna buy me out. Yeah, he's already. Oh no. Yeah, come on out, Ian.
I think he's scoping the whole
Buy me
island.
out first for the high price, would you?
He'll have an island to himself.
Yeah, he could just buy out the whole island and
Yeah.
put a couple thousand hives on there. Hey, Doug. Yeah, you could become a queen breeder. Now Doug tells you can be a queen breeder.
Well, I'm working
Yeah,
on
there
it.
you go.
That's something I really want to do. I tried my hand at it last year, and any queen I could get them to actually start making, I had a really good success. But it was just getting from the putting the larva in and getting them to actually turn it into something was where I was having trouble.
I mean, as far as getting your cups accepted by the bees?
That would be the way to say it. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you
Yeah.
2 nuggets, Bill Norman. 2 nuggets.
Hmm?
Population and cell builder. When you think you got enough, put some more in it. And nutrition for the new queens and the fresh queens that come back mated. Make sure you're pumping the food and the carbohydrates and the protein to them.
Okay.
The better nutrition they get now, the better queen you'll end up with.
And I think we were talking, weren't you doing a Bob Benny method?
As far as what's
Cell builder.
No, we weren't talking about that. What did I do? I did a
Uh-huh.
couple of things. Basically, I just, kind of yanked the queen out and compressed it down a bit and jammed a bunch more bees in, and then, just basically put them in.
No. Get yourself a nuke box, a 5-frame nuke box. Now you're
Mhm.
running what deeps over there? I can see them behind you there.
Well,
Deep-
that's the thing we were talking about. Was my hives are a little bizarre. I do
Yeah,
they're
but
kind of
what-
like a medium and a deep. Let me just quickly show you my frame here.
Well, that's not all I'm getting at is in your brood chamber. Aren't you doing deeps in your brood chamber?
I gotta show this to you here.
Okay.
I just
You got
gotta
some
figure
big
out how to
lids
turn
on
my
them.
visual
What's
effect
the
here.
deal with those big lids on there? Are they insulation or something?
Yes. I do that.
Okay, so you're doing like a long lang hive brood chamber.
Yeah, so
That's
this
fine.
is your
That's fine.
that's your
So what you
standard
do
bead.
is you go in there and you take, if you got a 5-frame nuke, or maybe you're up in Canada, you're doing 6-frame stuff, aren't you? 6-frame nukes.
Well, our summers are nice, so I can pretty much do whatever.
No, but
I can do whatever you guys do.
I'm talking
I
about
don't
the
need.
size of your boxes. Brad and all
For
them
nukes?
guys have 6-frame nukes boxes.
When I've bought nukes up here, I've bought 5s and I bought 4s. Nobody does 6s. Like, I'm sure some people do, and there's no reason not to, but I don't think there's a reason to necessarily do a 6 up here. Like, any different than what everybody else would do. But yeah, I think everything's pretty much the same over here as it would be down
All right.
there.
Well, Ian says there's supposed to be 40,000 colonies on the island, and you ferry the bees across.
I don't.
Do you buy bees at all?
Last year I bought some bees. I got some bees from New Zealand and I got some bees from California, and then the rest were local.
Well, how did you get them across the line? Shh.
Ian's watching. Hold up.
I don't know. I didn't ask. They just got here.
You had that pirate ship. It went down to the U.S. and grabbed some boxes of bees and came back.
No, we did. not actual bees. Just the
What did
queen.
you have? Oh,
Just the
queen.
queen.
All right, that's
Just
a
the
different
queens from the
story.
States. We get packages from New Zealand. So you
Okay.
can get packages from New Zealand. You can get your nukes locally, and you can get queens from like the US or New Zealand, or I think we can. I think there's like Italian bees you can get still. I'm not
Yeah, all
really
those.
sure.
You can get
So-
most anything.
Here's a question for you, Norman. Your cell builders.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing are you doing a double screen over top of your cell builder with the queen on top?
I tried that, but the queen underneath, and
No.
it didn't work.
Queen on top.
Mhm.
Nope, I haven't tried that. So all the cells would be underneath.
Yeah. So you take your cell builder, you take a hive, you find your queen.
Right.
Okay. You take a double screen board that has an entrance in it. All right. You put the entrance of the double screen board on the opposite side of your main entrance on the bottom. You find a queen, take that frame out that she's on, right? Search the rest of the hive, make sure there's no virgins and no cells. Put a double screen board on it. Then you take that box that the queen's in, you put that on top of the double screen board, and she's got her bees, and she's going to populate that box with her bees, and then your cells go underneath.
Okay.
You get the heat. You'll get workforce because they'll build honey in that box. So there's your food source, and there's your pollen source, right? And then you put your cells in there with the nurse bees on them. That's the box that you pack as many bees in it as you can get.
Mm.
Right? So typical time to build the cell out is from 7. You'll get a cell within 7 to 10 days.
Right.
Typical day 8, you've got a capped cell. They're usually about a day or two ahead.
Okay.
And then you go in with your easy peasy cage, put over top of the cell. It hatches out in the cell builder. Okay. So it gets immediate food. You're not in an incubator. Incubator, you got to feed. You'll lose a lot of queens because if you're not there within the first 2 to 3 hours, they will die. Lack of food.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, I've had that.
So you let them hatch out in the cell builder, right in the cage. You come back on day 12, 13, pull the cages because they're hatched out at that point, right? Because they're ahead of schedule because you got so many bees in there. It's warmer. The bees keep it warmer. So we know that when we have a warmer hive, they work faster and they hatch out sooner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can move them to your mating nukes.
Okay. I've tried something similar to that last year, but it was reversed. I had the queen on the bottom and the cell builder on top. And that didn't work that well as far as
and when you go into the bottom box into the cell builder, all you do is you pop the bottom of the double screen board loose and pick up the screen board. That way you're picking up hive and everything and setting it down.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That way you're not disturbing the queen that's laying that hive there. You're not really disturbing it. Now you're in your cell builder. So,
and there's a guy close to where you live at, Norman. I think he's on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
That does. He has a video out about what you're trying to do, and like what Bill just described there. And I forget how he prepped that hive in the beginning, but he wound out putting. Let's see, how did he have it? He had the cups on the top. Now he had it to where he brought all the brood up top to draw all the darn nurse bees upstairs through the queen excluder, I guess it was. And he switched it around to where where the queen was up top and the cells were at the bottom. So anything was foragers at the top went around and came back to the bottom so he could build up the population. But he didn't put 10 frames in there. He only put like 5 frames, or maybe 4 frames with 1 frame for the, or let's say 6 frames. The middle frame was the cups, and then he had, I guess they had 5 frames. They had 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I had 4 frames, 2 frames on the other side. But he kept shaking all the bees down in that box, and it was open area. But what they had is they all had to cluster on the frames because that's what they naturally want to do. So everything was on that frame on themselves.
That was going to be my tactic for this year, actually, was exactly that. Like what Bill's saying, and it should have clued into it last year, but I didn't because not smart enough. But yeah, I was gonna yank the queen and a few bees, basically make a nuke out of the existing queen, and then do exactly what you're saying. Just take a bunch of frames away so that they're stuck with, like they start with 10, knock them down to 6 or something like that, plus the queen cells.
Yeah, I know that Doug from up in Canada told me to look at this guy. I've got him listed on my list here someplace.
I think he was an older head. He made a video of that, and I think he was over somewhere on the West Coast. I think it was Washington.
He was up in British Columbia at some nature center or something or another. I can't think of what his name is. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, what I described to you, Norman, that's what I teach in my queen rearing class.
Mm-hmm.
To set up cell builders. And you want to try to set it up, if you can, if you have time, a week ahead of time. See, in my class, I teach setting up the cell builder because there's very few people that teach that. Very few. And if you're going to rear queens, you got to know how to set a cell builder up to be successful.
Well, that is what you just gave me is gold, because that's the weak link in my system so far. Like once I got the take, they mate well, they grow, they're healthy. My survival rate, like of all the queens that have hatched last year, I think I lost 2 that like either didn't mate or got jacked at one point by something or other. It's like I had really good odds.
What was your take rate on your cells?
Oh, it was abysmal. Like 5 of 45 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or I'd end up, and then they would tear 2 down. And
yeah, they will actually tear down the cells that they know that the larva isn't healthy. When you say if you flipped it over when you grafted, they'll build the cell, but then they'll figure out, okay, that larva's not eating, that's something wrong with that larva. They'll tear it down and eat the larva. So they'll take care of their own in that respect. So what I don't look for take rate, I look for mating success.
Yeah.
If
as far as mating success, I did really well last year.
Yeah. If I drop 45 cells and 45 mating nukes and I get 40 of them back, that's success. If I drop 45 cells and get 5 of them back, that's not so good.
Uh-oh.
Your bee class.
They're good light.
Still here?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was just sorry. My monitors just went to sleep on me.
Bill, your bee class, is that in person or is that something that's online?
It is in person. It is a 2-day course.
When is that?
This year, it's probably going to be, judging by the weather that I'm seeing.
Or a guesstimate at least.
Come on, this stupid computer. Mine just did the same thing yours did, Norman. It's probably going to be the 9th and 10th of May. Because it's going to be 70 degrees it's almost 75 both days.
Right.
So
cool. I may look into that. And you said you're in Woodstock. That's south of Winchester, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
38 miles south of Winchester.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So you're like in the middle between Harrisonburg and
Yep,
When-
almost dead center.
Right. Yeah.
Bill,
they-
Bill, I think over the next couple of weeks, I have to figure out how to tease the rest of your course out of you here.
Yeah, but see the big nugget from the whole thing last year that really stood out to me
Clifford.
was I had Will Toothaker helping me, and I had 2 3-pound boxes of bees sitting there that were queenless, right? And we were making up the cell builders, and Charlie was standing there, and I looked at Will and I said, "Dump both those boxes in there." Now my cell builders are 8 frames. I already had probably 3 pounds of bees in it. And I looked at Will and I said, "Dump the other 6 in there." So I put 9 pounds of bees in the cell builder portion of that hive. And you could see through Charlie's veil, you could see the whites of his eyes. And he just turned around and looked at me. And that was the best nugget of the whole class, was seeing him do that. But everybody, I think, got a lot out of the class. They enjoyed it. And Charlie got some nuggets out of it. And, that's
My biggest thing was it's like he was saying about setting a cell builder up. And this is what I was trying to tell you here before you were talking about your frames. You want to, it's like also Kent Williams said, a queenless nuke is easier to compress the bees into a small cavity for them to be manipulated to look at the cell, look at the cups.
Yeah.
Unless you have a really super big hive, like I've seen videos of Ian, where they've collected all these bees, and they're just super populated. But for me, a nuke is good for my level. I do medium, so I have 5 over 5. In your situation, you would do 5 of them long frames.
Mm-hmm.
But you would make sure that all them frames had brood on them. And you want, with me, I put shake bees off and they're in a normal hive, and I would put a queen excluder on, put them frames up on top on a top box, let the nurse bees come up, populate all that stuff in a day, come back, put those 5 big long frames down in a box. So now you got nurse bees, and then you got emerging brood within the next 7 to 10 days. Now you got a box of bees. And then you could shake more, nurse bees in there if you wanted to. And then you put your graft in. And I normally put in a nuke box setup, I graft 30 cells. And that's 2 bars, 15 to a bar. And like this year with that, by doing it that way, with having the volume of bees in there, I had 28 out of 30 cells accepted.
Yeah.
And they draw the cocoons out. And then after you do that, you keep adding, let's say 5 frames of, like for me, would be 2 mediums. I'd add another 5 frames of brood, emerging brood within a week or so, week to 10 days.
Okay.
You keep that thing running all summer long. You don't have to have a queen as long as you got fresh brood in there. The brood smell will not let them. They think they are queen right, and they will not draw queen cells. Emergency queen cells. They will not go. They will not go laying worker because of the brood smell.
If one of you guys has your YouTube open, please mute it.
I don't know whether I do or not.
There's an echo coming back.
All mine's off. Let me double check one thing.
Mine's open but muted.
Okay.
Seems to be gone now.
Is it me?
It was you, Dave. It was you the whole time.
I have nothing on, neither on my computer or my phone.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know. It's gone now. Whatever just changed.
Whatever it was at work.
Good job.
I'll take the blame for it. It's my fault. My bad.
All right, good job fixing this. Take the
No,
compliment.
but May 9th, May 10th, somewhere around in there, first, second weekend of May is when I'll do it this year, because it was a little chilly last year and we dropped 70 some cells, and out of 70 cells we had a 60 cell take, and then they killed all but 15 cells.
Whoops.
All right, I found it, and it was. And Todd, it's listening in. You were right. It was. It's Steve Sleep is the guy that actually has the video, but Steve Clifford is the guy that's doing the work. And I'm going to put it in the private comments, I think it is. I think you can paste it. You can copy it. I'll say that, and I'll put it over here in the chat and see if they can get it.
I did see I did see a guy when I was watching queen rearing videos where he was talking what you were talking about, where he had a deep box, but he only had 5 frames.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he looked like he was living in Washington State. It was the foliage that was around, the trees that were around, and it was raining, like, what I would expect over there. And he just pumped it full. And those boxes looked like they were as old as he was. And he just pumped them full of bees, and there was only 5 frames in that box.
Well, that one it's in the private chat that you can copy it, or in the regular chat over there. You can go to it and save it, Norman. It shows the setup that you were talking about, or actually what Bill was talking about. And I'd have to go and look at it again. But like I say, I do the double medium box for my queen cell builder. And it's like I got a picture here someplace where I guess it was on my phone, where I had it looked like half of a box of bees on the front of the hive, and that was like when he dumped them 6 pounds of bees already filled into that. What side? Well, that was a 5. No, that was an 8
frame,
box, and it was double deep.
Yep,
double deep, and there was 4 pounds of bees out on the front of it that day.
Yep, and they all went back
got in about 40 degrees that night,
and they went all in.
We went back over to the store. They were closed some windows. They were all inside.
Yep.
And all that stuff.
And then once you set that queen up on top, the reason you put her up on top is now you've got a single brood box up there to manage. So to keep replenishing your nurse bees for the bottom box, you take her off again, set her down, you pull frames of fully capped brood out of there. You do not want to put anything that is uncapped in that bottom box, because they will draw a queen cell on it. Mm-hmm. So you take all that fully capped brood, take it out of the top box, and put it in the bottom. Now you've replenished your nurse bees, which I know this is going to be a statement that a lot of people probably aren't going to agree with, but you really don't need to replenish the bees. That one cell builder will keep going all summer long, because those workers, as long as there's no queen in there, they will keep building queen cells, and they will keep feeding that larva.
Yeah, as long as you keep stealing capped cells from
no,
the queen.
Even if you don't, the bees that are in that box that are foragers will build queen cells.
So it's regardless of age, they'll take the role of building the queen cells.
Exactly. And they will draw wax, and they will produce the royal jelly and everything. they will take care. They will build those queen cells because that double screen board is thick enough. They can't pass pheromone.
I don't know whether you guys can see that or not. Let me see if I can blow me out. You see how many bees are on the front? There.
Oh yeah.
All right. That was the day I stocked it. They're underneath the telly lid, and then they're out in the front and underneath the bottom board. And all that stuff. Hey, thank you, Uncle Junior. And they kind of stayed, and it was kind of misty, rainy that day, you know, and that didn't matter to them. They stayed right there. And all that kind of stuff. And then once it was like you say, 7 to 10 days, they all were hatched out. And then in the meantime, I went and found that's something that I don't know how that's going to work with the way you were setting it up. You got to have a frame of pollen in there. If you can find a frame of natural pollen in there, put that alongside your cell cup, your grafting frame.
Yeah.
And then put a frame of nectar in there, not honey, nectar.
Nectar.
They want open liquid
nectar
to be able to feed themselves in order to make rolled jelly.
And then I use the 8 frame because on the outside of that, I put 2 empty frames. No foundation, just empty frames. And that gives them some place to draw excess comb instead of around the queen cells.
And then,
Because that is a royal pain.
I'll put a foundation over there. They'll draw that wax out. I also put a 1-to-1 juice jar, as I call it, 1-to-1 sugar water.
Yep.
And then I'm not much on the pollen patty. What I do is I take pollen powder and I put a soup can full of pollen powder in a bowl, put a little bit of Pro Sweet or honey or sugar water in there, and mix it to where you've got pancake batter, but a little bit thicker than that, to where it'll drizzle, but I'll drizzle it on the top of the frames, right over top of the brood frame, and it'll kind of like just sit there, it will not drip down over the sides. And then bees will come up there line up across there like a bunch of cattle, sucking it down, between the sugar water and the pollen powder. And that way you want to give them more food than you never want them to run out or lack. You want them to have more than whatever they can possibly eat in order to give the nutrition to those cells and stuff like that.
Yep.
That sounds like really good advice.
Yeah, I saw Junior made a comment about if we use an incubator or not. I did, and what Bill told me earlier, or said earlier, about just leaving the bees in there. They'll take care of all the dead bees, or the dead queens or not good queens. I had 5 not hatch and in the incubator. And now that got me thinking, if I had just left them in the hive, the bees would have took care of those 5. And
yeah, but
now you might have that problem in the hive too, because if that larva or that pupa isn't viable, she won't hatch.
Right. So that's what you said, that the bees they'll notice that and they'll take care of that one.
They'll take care of everything like that. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas I can't do that in the incubator. It's just I gotta wait and hope that they all hatch. And if they don't, if they're like 2 or 3 days late, I know they're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norman, this Steve Clifford, Doug just texted me. Steve Clifford, he lives close to where you live at.
Mm-hmm.
Probably on the mainland and more so than on the island. But you also, like on that video there, at videos on Steve Sleep's YouTube video, you might want to contact him and collaborate, because since you guys are all in the same area.
Oh, what?
It's Clifford Honey Farm.
It's Clifford Honey Farm, but Steve Sleep is, I think, part of the bee organization or bee club in your area there.
Yeah.
There's 2, check them out, see how close they are to you. You can get, do some collaboration since they're, in your back door.
Well, not
But
quite.
now,
But
now
just the
huh?
government issue cruise away.
Well, just get your boat, go across the stream there, and then you're on the other side, right?
Yeah, there you go.
It ain't that far, is it?
Yeah, you just get on a boat, take a nap, and you get off and wake up, and you're on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, how far is it from the island to the mainland?
That's
mile,
a 2 hour.
maybe?
It's a 2 hour cruise.
A 2 hour cruise.
Yeah.
How much is it in a speedboat?
Yeah, it'll still take a while. Those boats are pretty good. They go at about 25 knots or something like. They're not slow.
Okay.
They might go faster.
That's about like the ferry I took. It was like you said, about two. It looks real close on the map, but you get out the middle of that water there. You can't see land either way.
It's not that bad, but it's the Strait of Georgia is a pretty big body of water
and all that. But now, Dave, look at some of my. I think it's some of my videos I did this year, and you're talking about those things didn't hatch. You've got to be some of the things that you don't even think about in movement is critical with those cells.
Yep. Very critical.
And I
bump something and dislodge the drone or dislodge the larva.
Yep. The way I do mine is I put the graft in the cell builder. When I put it in that cell builder, that's day one. And 6 days later is when they'll be capped.
Yep.
Sometimes maybe a day sooner, but usually 6 days. 6 days, I don't count day 1, 2, and 3. That's while the egg is laid and then the egg is hatched. That doesn't matter about when it comes to cream rearing. It matters is that larvae young enough within 12 hours of it hatching. And I have not found any way except looking into the combs and saying, all right, I see larvae, or not larvae, a jelly. Can I see a larvae floating in it? No. Well, it's there. You just got to put your magnification unit on unless you got good eyes. I don't. Yeah. And then I put them in the cups. So I take that frame, that's day 1, 6 days later, or day 6 after that, they'll be capped. I take that frame out. If you leave it in the cell builder, they'll put webbing in there, and that's a nuisance. So I take mine out, and I'm going in my pickup truck from the isolation cages for fresh eggs.
So, Dave,
all that, but that's just too much trouble for me.
There is something would probably help you out a lot. Is DC Gadgets. He's only on Facebook, and he makes these aluminum queen rearing wheels. All right. And the first 3 days, it'll say eggs, egg. It'll just say egg or egg, larva or egg stage. So like Charlie was saying, you set day 1 on the wheel, day of graft.
Right.
Okay. And that's how you do your timeline.
Right.
Is from day of graft on.
All right. I'm going to put you another instead of buying that, just go to the internet. And I'm in the private chat. I'll put in the next link. There is a club out there that has got a grafting
chart.
A grafting chart count. It's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did pretty good with that. I had one hatch a day earlier, which I'm pretty sure I did pick one out that was a little bit bigger than the other ones because I was just testing to see what would happen. And that one hatched a day earlier, which kind of put me on guard. I was like, oh, they're all hatching a day. No, she hatched a day earlier. All the rest of them hatched within, it was like 1 a.m. Sunday morning to like somewhere around 4 o'clock that afternoon.
Right.
And that was the only one that was kind of off. But then I had the 5 that didn't hatch. And when I broke them open, the queen, it was like almost, the queen was white. It was all formed. It just didn't make it all the way through the process, I guess.
Yeah.
Were they weren't in there long enough? You know what I mean? Did you open them up? Did you think they were supposed to hatch today and they are 3 days later they would have hatched maybe?
No, I opened them. I let them stay in there, and I opened them up a couple days later because I was like, okay, there's no way that these ones haven't hatched. And I had 11 hatch all at one time, and then those 5 didn't hatch. So then I sat them in there for another 2 days, and then I was like, all right. Then I just opened them up, and they.
All right.
I just gave up
there, Charlie.
All right, I'm gonna bring this up. There's Queen Roaring Wheel.
No, can you get it any bigger?
Let's see.
Enhance.
So you on there, you see in the dark green there where it has its 1 on the inner wheel,
Right.
and then you get 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th day it says graft
That's where you start.
on the inner wheel. No, you'll take that 1. Let's say you graft on the 3rd day of the month, right? Which on the outer wheel would be the 3. You take the 1 and you put it on 3.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. And then you count your days from there.
Right. Yeah, I seem to have had that. Well, I've only done this one time, but I seem to have had that under.
Yeah.
I like predicted the day. I counted the days because I watched like 80 videos before then. I did the Bob Benny, the Queen Wright starter finisher.
Yeah.
And I did 45 because it was 3 bars, right? Yeah, 45, and then I only had 18 get completely drawn out, and then I ended up.
And how big cell builder you were running?
How big was it? It was.
I mean, when you got 45 cells in there, you better have a ton of bees. I mean, I think maybe you back off 1 bar.
Yeah. So the hive that I picked was also my largest hive, and by largest hive, that may be like average to y'all, but in comparison to the other 5, it was double the size of all the rest of them. Every time I opened the lid, bees were boiling out, whereas the rest of them, the bees were just kind of hanging on the top of the frames. So
that sounds good.
It does. That sounds good. I would have used it as a support hive to pull nurse bees from to put in one of the smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way you keep pulling from a brood box there and putting in your cell builder and building your nurse bees up that way. Yeah.
So that was the one I grafted from too, because I was like, these ones are clearly doing the best. So I'm gonna take graft from this hive, but also make it it was my largest hive, and make it my cell hive starter finisher too.
Right.
And then I put all the bees down in the bottom, and then or I put all the cells down in the bottom, and then I think it was with Bob Benny. He said eventually when you do that, then you can flip the boxes back when they get close to hatching, and then the cells will be on the top and the queen's back on the bottom. And then
you can, unless you can do that every time. But if you're going to continue to graft throughout the season, you want to leave it sit. You want to leave it like you have it set up, and just pull from a brood box and put down in there,
right,
and leave that cell builder on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's what it was. Use a double screen board.
Yeah.
In between to do that, but
But
anyway, what I was going to tell you, my mistake was this year was once they capped, I have an incubator, so I bring that frame up. I'm going in my pickup truck from the bee yard to the house, which is right around the building, and I have it over here in my hand so I don't let it get shook, by the roughness of the road or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I walk it down into the incubator and see, how did I do it? I've got JZBZ cell cups and I got JZBZ bars, so they come off of them real easy, like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put them in that easy peasy cage. Then I put the cages on their little tray and put them in the incubator. Now, what happened is that I it was like, I forget how I did, what I was doing. I was taking the cells off the bar, and it was like tap. Everyone I was tapping, kind of, they either, maybe the bar got out of my hand and it fell, or maybe I was taking the cells off, and I wasn't, it was like a small little tap, and that little bit of a tap dislodged that larvae, and them cells were, they, within seconds, I just blew everything I made up. And all that stuff. Now, what I did is,
did you know ahead of time, or did you find out later?
Well, I just, when I'm trying to do a video and I'm thinking about all these other things, and and it's like, as I start, I was like, you know what, I'm messing up here. I'm tapping them cells. I should have been more real gentle, like. Yeah, Doug, I said it I put it in the private chat for these guys to go to the site, to the guy's website. So anyway, what I've done now is I was putting the cell in an easy peasy cage, put it in the incubator. And yes, you can let them hatch out in there. But then, like Bill says, and like you found out, if you don't feed them within so many hours, they're going to starve to death.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to go back up into cocoon. They can't back themselves out, and they'll get lodged in there, and they'll starve or die. Yep. So then what I found was to let them, I incubate them so they don't get any wax between the two cells, Burcombe wax, webbing. And about 2 days before they hatch, I put them in, I take those JZBZ cups or cages, easy peasy cages that the cups are in, or the queens are in. I put them in a banking frame that Easy Peasy makes. Take them back out to the cell builder, put them in there, and then they will be fed by those bees in there as soon as they hatch. And that works out well. But then I still had mating problems this year. And like a lot of people had mating problems too. But I couldn't keep my mating boxes populated good enough. And then I also was selling virgins. And I was taking my own virgins and trying to introduce them to, I introduced them a multiple different ways into the hives, that my nukes that I had. And most of them didn't want to take for some reason. So I got to thinking about it and what other people are talking about it. And 4 years ago, when I used to do all this stuff, I used to put the cells in a 2-frame mating box and let them hatch out naturally. And I had a much more higher success rate of acceptance and mating that way. So now this coming spring, that's what I'm going to do. I know how to graft. I know how to set that cell builder up early on, and I can get my cells, that are in there. I don't know whether to. I think I'm still going to take them out, put them in the incubator, let them get up to about 2 days before they hatch, and then I'll put them in my 2-frame mating boxes. And in the meantime, I will be getting my mating boxes set up and make sure. And the main thing I think I messed up on my mating boxes is I didn't keep up with feeding them sugar water and maybe some fondant or something like that in there, or not fondant, maybe some pollen.
Yeah, see, I'm using these styrofoam mini mating nooks or whatever, and they're small, yes, but they're good and they're bad, from my opinion. They are a pain to get open with that little plastic sheet that's on top.
Mm-hmm. You talking about the little square styrofoam job things?
Yep. Yeah, they're probably by like 1 foot by like 8 inches in like dimensions. Mm-hmm. And the when you go to feed, like if you pull the top off, they're all boiling out, and then you're gonna smush like 80 of them if you don't have like that little plastic sheet on there. And do they work? Yes. But I had 2 abscond. I don't know why that. Like, I put the queen in there.
Probably ran out of room.
They absconded within a day. So I went back out there the next day to see what was going on, and they were gone. But 2 of them were completely gone. One of them, the queen was dead in the bottom of it. All the other bees left. I wondered if it had something to do with the bees that I got, if they weren't exactly just nurse bees, because they all flew away.
Well, now see, I built 5 or 6 years ago. I built 2 frame mating boxes, and I got the idea from Barnyard Bees down there in Georgia or someplace. And you put full size frames in, so everything is, there's nothing special. And in hindsight, if I was going to do it all over again and build them myself, I think I would have went with 3 frames.
Yep.
And I did these hives. I made the boxes about 1 inch wider or a 1/2 inch wider than normal, so I would have sliding space to be able to, not rub and roll bees and stuff like that, and that kind of thing. But then when you get into 3 frames, it's like, well, maybe I might as well that's going to be you're making a queen castle there. You could possibly, but I don't know. If you're going to put 3 frames in, maybe just buy a 5 frame moot box and put a follower board in.
Yeah.
Or potentially put in a frame feeder, maybe.
Yeah, you can do that.
You could do that too.
And it knocks it down to if you use mediums, put the mother load medium frame feeder in it, because it takes up 2 frame spaces, and it leaves you plenty of room for slide, so you don't roll a queen or roll a virgin.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
This is something I'm gonna mess with this year, just so I don't have to make dedicated boxes and all that.
You're going to put grooves in there and put dividers in, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like that's 2, that's 2, that's 3, that's 3.
That's all. I saw. Was it Apame? They made their own was it 4 frame or 4 compartment mating box?
yeah, they broke a Defender hive up into that.
Yeah, and I saw some. What was it? Is it Infinity frames?
Yep.
The ones that produce the plastic frames. I saw.
Yeah, but 21st Century Bee has frames for those hives that work better.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. They're the ones, they make the plastic frames with the hole in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought about maybe crafting my own box that was a little bit bigger, but had something on the top where I can do flip up doors, so I don't have to take the whole thing off of, if I did a queen mating nook, make my own, I can have it on hinges where I can just flip one door up and just focus on one box at a time.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. My problem with the little small mating nukes, I was using those for a while.
The styrofoam ones?
No, the plastic ones that look like the Enel hive. And
I think I've seen those.
Yeah, and my issue is the frames that are in them. There's 4 little frames, but when she comes back, she'll fill those frames in less than a day when she's ready to start laying eggs.
So I kind of thought about that myself, because when my queens came back mated and I saw the eggs that were in there, when I saw eggs, I immediately took them over to other hives and got them out. So it's not like they laid them all up, but I was like, I'm going to do this next year. And if I plan on rolling these things, continuously keep them going, because I want to try and do a lot of queen rearing this year and get better at it. Yeah. And if I want to continue rolling that, those frames are going to get full, and I'm going to have to do something with them. And I thought maybe I would take a shallow box and kind of configure it to where it'll hold all those little frames.
Yep.
And then when they're full, just take all those little frames and put them on top of another box and let them hatch out, and then they'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And I have 2 sets of those styrofoam boxes, and maybe I just deploy half of them, and then use the other frames from the other half to kind of rotate in and out.
Are those little half frames?
They're 3
like
inches wide or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not very big at all. But what I did last year I went to my woodenware manufacturer and I said, hey, I need a 5 or 6 frame box that's at least 9/16 of an inch wider than a normal 5 frame or 6 frame box. So that way I can put a divider board in the center, and I need an entrance out of the back and an entrance out of the front, migratory cover with 2 feeder holes. So
what 2 3-frame? Like it was basically essentially make 2 3-frames.
yes,
Right.
and he made them very reasonably priced, by the way, too. And I'm not selling them, but he made them for me, and he made 35, so I've got 70 mating nukes.
Yeah. I was thinking about something like the Apame one, just making one out of wood. Not necessarily doing the Apame one, but using the I think it's the 21st century frames.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I got a box of those, and I have that Apame Defender hive. A friend of mine let me borrow or have, and then I bought the frames from Michael that comes on here, 21st bees, those half frames.
Yeah.
I bought a case of them from Navi.
Dave, have you ever seen the that Australian bee log guy?
I haven't.
Check it out on Facebook one of these days, man. He makes his own little styrofoam nukes. He makes them out of like, I think it's seafood styrofoam, but it's like the mini nukes you're talking about, but they're just a little bigger. So each frame is like, by the time you look at it, they have twice the surface area.
Oh wait, are they the ones that I may have? Are they taller?
They're taller and they're a little wider, and it's just homemade styrofoam boxes, and he puts them on little sticks, little dowels, like little chopsticks or something.
Yeah, I think I did see something like that because what I'm thinking is that I seen a box that was like mine. If you type in styrofoam mini mating nook, that's what I got, and I did see one that was like taller where it made the frames longer, essentially in the box.
Yeah, it's longer and it's a little wider too. This guy, like they're pretty much square.
Yeah,
what he does, but I don't know. I love listening to Australians talk about stuff. They got such a nice accent. And those mini newts, man, they're so photogenic. Like it's almost nicer looking at like when you film a little mini nuke, just because the bees are so big, and just you zoom in more, you can kind of see more close up than if you look like at a normal frame. It's like to really get the detail, you don't get the whole scope of the frame, but the minis you get everything. So it's just a little bit more photogenic, I find, as well. But anyways, yeah, it's good. Australian bee log.
Yeah, I'll check that. I'll look into that. And then like I don't want to I think it's around 40. I think it's 48 of those styrofoam mating nooks. I'm probably not going to deploy them all this year. I'm probably just going to use the frames from the other ones and just rotate them around. But are they a pain? Yes. And then I don't want to get rid of them. I do want to use them. I paid for them. I kind of want to utilize them. But like this is me being a first year beekeeper. Just the things that I'm noticing with them, and then how I see like where if I had a 4 compartment, like one box, just like a deep box turned into one, that seems like it would be way simpler to manage than.
Yeah, now on that Defender hive that I got from Apame, you can make it 4 ways, 4 compartments, or you can pull the other ones out and make two full size frame compartments.
Yeah, I've seen that. I can't justify paying $300 and something.
Well, I didn't buy it either.
But it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm not paying $300 for it either.
I spent the money to buy the frames from Michael out at Navi.
Yeah,
and I got the hive gave to me.
I'm gonna try them this year. I'm gonna try 2 or 3 of them, and I've got an order in with Michael, so I'm not paying $300 and some a piece for it either. It's a little cheaper than that, but I'm going to give it a try and see what they do, see how they perform. But I don't know.
Yeah, I can't justify paying $300 for that thing, but I can do some head scratching and about $100 or probably $50 to $100 worth of fucking wood and figure out one myself and then use.
Well, if you got deeps, Dave, all you got to do is buy yourself a deep box that's been not assembled, and then just take a router, a plunge router, and set it up with a fence, and zoom, down, and make sure you got it, and you put your Luan 1/4-inch Luan board in there, and you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I used to use like signboard for this. Slides right in.
yeah. So
Right.
Mark Miller had a good suggestion. Make sure you guys understand it before you start doing any grafting whatsoever. Make sure that you've got mature walking drones in your hive.
Yeah. You know what? I have mature walking drones right now.
Well, how do you know they're mature?
Because, well, they better be mature. They've been around for
You know how
since
you
last
can tell?
summer.
I feel like I've heard this answer and I know this answer, but it's not coming to me.
You squeeze.
You pick a drone up
No.
and you start with the thorax in the center and squeeze to the back.
And he'll pop.
And they'll pop. If they
Right.
pop, they're mature.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
how you tell. If they don't pop, guess what? They're not mature yet.
Youngins.
Well, and then Mark did say, he said, I've started this past year, I got frames from Bill, drone frames, where I put two, either you guys would if you're going deep, you put one deep frame in of drone frame, or I put two mediums on top of each other in position number 3. And it alleviates quite amount of burrcomb on top of your frames, because it gives a place for that queen to lay all that drone.
Yeah, I seen Ryan Williamson's video where he does with some of his half sheets. I don't know if you saw that or not. I thought that was pretty interesting, where he takes a half sheet of the frame.
You're talking about a storyboard, yeah.
He'll take a half sheet of the
Regular worker cell.
Yeah,
Put the worker cell in the middle, and then he lets them draw down the drone frame on the side. And Brad there, the Faith Apiaries, it's on there right now, the bee man, he uses that all the time.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. I might try that out, because I don't have the drone boards, but I
You
would
let
like
them
to try that.
actually build the drawing that cocoons down, and
Right.
it kind of tells you what's going on in the hive.
My only fear about that is I feel like they could hide a queen cell really good in that, on maybe the corners or something, because I had a queen cell that hatched out. This is where my first split came out. I had 4 hives, and then it turned into 5 with that one. They hit a queen cell in the very corner of one of my frames. One of my frames didn't have foundation, and it was all the way mostly drawn out, and the one bottom corner was like rounded. And they put a queen cell in there. I'd never seen it, but I saw the virgin queen, when she hatched, was walking across. I was like, you don't look like the rest of these things. Granted, this was like 2 months in to me beekeeping, and I was like, oh,
Well,
I got another queen.
You're quite efficient when it comes to that. If you spotted that queen, that virgin, because she looks kind of like a worker most of the time.
But the reason
you actually noticed a difference in her abdomen and everything at that point in time, you're, for some reason, way ahead of everybody else.
I don't know. And I grabbed her because I had my marking pen in my shoulder, and I grabbed her and I dabbed her, and I was like, that has to be a queen. And then I was like, oh crap. So then I put her box off to the side, because the queen was in the bottom box and she was in the top box running around the top. And then I went and made a double screen board in like super fast and put it on top. And then I had to go get another bottom board, and then I split them off. And then sure enough, she went out and got mated, and then she started producing way faster than her mother did. But that was my first split. Now, that was an unintentional split. And the reason I didn't notice her because of the way she looked, or it was her color. She was gray in comparison to all the other bees. And I was like, you look weird.
She was gray?
Her abdomen was gray when she came out. Now she's a dark bee.
Yeah.
That was the only way I spotted her. But she was just running like a madman across the top of the frame.
Yeah, they move quick.
But
And I have it in one of my videos. One of the videos I made.
It's I don't know. It's, to me, the queen rearing is fun. It's interesting. It's I guess it's a more refined skill set. You know, like I was telling where I made that mistake of bumping them queen cells when I was manipulating, you know, putting them from one thing to another thing and whatever. And I messed up there. And this year I got the easy peasy cages, which it's like, oh, it's going to rain or I can't get there because of work or whatever. You can put the cells in there, put them in the cell builder, let the bees naturally take care of them. But then this year it's like, okay, I need to work ahead of schedule here and get my population in my cell builder or mating boxes up and running and established. So I don't, you know, so I can take those cells out of the incubator and drop them in the mating boxes and let nature take its course that way.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking about trying that too, with trying leaving them in there. But I got a mix of equipment here. I have the easy peasy cups with the bars, and I have the cages to another one. I don't know what it's called, but they have a yellow cap on the bottom of them, and they're supposed to just plug into.
That might be easy peasy instead of JZBZ.
The ones that
you got the cups and the bar is a JZBZ.
Is it JZ?
And then Dave or Don, who made the easy peasy, is adapted to the JZBZ equipment.
Yeah.
Do you have a little cup that goes into another cup that you nail to a bar, or do you have a little cup that has a little pokey on the end that sticks into a plastic thing?
So the cups have the little nipple that you plug into the bar, and that's it. And what I did is they have like the orange cone that just like the cell protector that you can put over top of them to keep the bees from chewing it down. I have those, but then I switched over. I'm trying to figure out which.
Well, those cell protectors, you know, I bought a bag of them things, and I think I sold them to somebody else. That was worthless as far as I'm concerned.
So I had to use those with the cages that I had, because when I put them in the incubator, the easy peasy is the JZBZ cups. I'm looking at it now. The JZBZ cups would fall right through the hole of the cage. So I had to put them into the cell protector, and that cell protector was wide enough to sit on top of the cage when they were hatching.
Yeah, well, see, easy peasy, those JZBZ cups will snap. He's got like two little wings on like that, and that round circle will snap right into that cage. They won't fall out.
Yeah,
he's got it really nice on that part of it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw some money at one of these guys who make those, you know, fancy queen kits this year, because it's like, you know, even if it costs you a couple $100, it's like, you know, if you can make like 200 queens at a time, it's like you're going to use it over and over again, right?
Yeah, but what kit are you looking at? You don't really. I mean, you got your magnification unit. You can buy a pack of Chinese grafting tools off of Amazon, grafting pins. You know, Chinese grafter things. Go to the drugstore or the hardware store and buy yourself about a 4-inch LED light so you can see and make that stuff glisten. And then when it comes to the other parts, you got JZBZ cell bar and the cell cups. They all integrate there. You can also use the wood. But the bar, I found that the wood, you have to use something to pry the cell cups off because they wax them down. That's why I went with the plastic bars, which are integrated with, you know, same manufacturer. Then this year I found out I went to Easy Peasy, which integrates with JZBZ, and he's got these cages, which gives you a lot of different options there. Now they do have groupings of getting the tray and the I forget what it was, the tray and the cups and this and that. There's different, it's different group options there. You know, those are the best things I've seen so far.
So
Yeah, that's the ones I'm talking about. Yeah, getting something like that.
the Nicot queen cell protectors, they're the Nicot cages. That's the ones that I have. That
Yeah, I had them too.
the
I had them too.
JCBs won't fit on them. You have to put them in the cell protector to just sit it on top. That's what I did. I had to make it work.
I had them to where they would sit up top. They were fun, you know. I forget how it was. The cap up on top. I had those. I got that. All that stuff went away
With JCB.
when I got Easy Peasy stuff, which integrates with the JZBZ perfectly.
Yeah, I tried that. I caught the first year, and like I could get the queen to lay in it, but I just couldn't get them to accept them at all. Like my cell builder just wouldn't just they just ate the eggs, or
Now,
they ate
see,
the larvae.
Clay there has the he bought the Easy Peasy kit, which has the JZBZ cups, the bars, and the cages that go over the JZBZ cups. Their cages work great with the incubator too. You know, he probably had there's if you want to buy it all in one shot, right there it is. You just go to JZBZ or Easy Peasy. I mean,
yeah, I definitely need to get my stuff in order because I'm using like two different things that are not compatible with each other. I do like the Nicot cages; they're pretty big, and
yeah, but these things are little small square cages, and he's got tray for them, and he's also got if you got a deep frame, then he's got a banking frame, which is our plastic doohickey things in there that are they're like a trough, and you can put all those cages in that trough, and you can put in 30 or 40 cages in there if you got a deep frame to go with it. And you know, all you got to do is lay it in your cell builder, you know, if you want them to be hatched out and fed at the same time. It's a perfect setup.
Yeah, I may have to try that because I think that makes more sense that they would be able to take care of the queens better than me just waiting for them to hatch in an incubator.
Yeah, but the only problem I found was I've walked them, the nukes or the virgins, into a 2-frame mating box, and they worked out fine. At least one or two of them like that. But I found that I put the cages or the cells in the incubator, and I know that I need to pull them out by day such and such, which I always give myself 2 days instead of a day, or because you might be a day off. You never know. And pull them out 2 days prior to what you say they're going to hatch at, and put them in those mating boxes and let them hatch out in there. And make sure that you put that cell around some cat brood. It might be in that mating box. That way, if it gets a little chilly, the bees in that box will go around and cover the brood and cover that cell up so it doesn't chill that cell. And then she'll come out.
Yep, it's going to be an experience.
You know, well, those are the little thing. Those are the little things that you have to kind of learn on the way, or have some of us have been doing it for a little bit that we've picked up on and all that stuff. So it's just like I put in those drone frames this past year. Well, they drawed it out. That queen, she laid them up corner to corner with drones. And I watched Underwood up there at Penn State. She said, put them in the 3rd position. It's close enough to the brood area where it takes a lot of energy from making brood to make them drones. You reduce the webbing in between the frames when on top of a box where the drones are normally webbed in there. All that kind of stuff, about 80% goes away. So that makes getting the hive open a lot easier. And that's like you were talking, making those story frames is what Brad calls them. And that was one of the things that Brad mentioned when he was an inspector for a while, that his hives had story frames. Well, it gave a place for the queen to lay drones and make wax, drone laying comb, he didn't have all that burr comb in between, and he could pop his hives open a whole lot easier
Yeah,
because you alleviate all that stuff.
that's also taken away from your side burr comb stash for the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be able to go in there and pop that darn hive open a whole lot easier than trying to pop it up, and you got about 4 frames stuck to the other frames,
Right.
and you're pulling them down and trying to hold the box at the same time, or you're picking the box up with the hive lifter, and here comes 4 more frames up out of the other box. Well, what a nuisance! What a nuisance!
Yeah, I may try that whole half sheet of foundation with some
Yeah.
of my this year.
That's Ryan did it. Ryan, it's a story frame, is what Brad calls it. He's been doing it for years. Well, guys, it's a little after 10. I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down and all that kind of stuff. Good evening, Carl. We're going out the door, Carl. So, but yeah, that's some of the things that we can work on. My big thing right now is to try to get into my hives and make sure they're not going to run out of any food.
Yeah, Bill, and I'm definitely going to look into that class you do.
All right.
Dates right.